Hey folks, my name is Michael Beaupre, and I'm excited to talk to you today. Congrats, first of all, of earning access to this community and starting a journey to start a business. I'm very excited for you. And if you're listening to this, you're probably preparing for one of your launch sessions, a session we call the budget session. And the goal of this is to really help you build a foundation in two areas: in how you manage your financial budget, and how you manage your time budget, and manage your time in life. And why is this important? And why do we do this session for our partners? Because we believe, and we've observed this, my wife and I, we've been part of this community for over a decade and been on a journey of building a business of our own in this community and getting mentorship and guidance. And we've just seen that one of the biggest hurdles for us and for a lot of people early on is two things that will take you off of your game or prevent you from building a business asset: is how you manage your finances and how you manage your schedule. It's one of the biggest things it's not that people can't technically learn how to build a business the way we do. It's not that it's technically difficult. It's often these life things that take people out of the game or sideline them or get them off track for certain goals they have. And so we believe it's just incredibly important. If your goal is to build a better life for yourself, if your goal is to build wealth, let me tell you, creating wealth is not just about making more money or freeing up more time. It's about learning how to manage the time and manage the money that you have. Because if you can't do that, more time, more money ain't going to help. So if you aren't managing well what you have, that's step one. You got to work on this. And so this is why we want to sit down with our partners and help them go through this and get better at this. So, my wife and I, again, we've been part of this community for a decade. My wife has a background as a physician assistant. I have a background in banking. I've built a career, 10 plus year career in the banking space and product management. And when we earned an offer in this community, when we started our journey, Kelsey was in PA school. So she, from a time standpoint, from a schedule standpoint, she was busy. She was studying 40 hours a week. She was working 40 hours or in class 40 hours a week, studying 40 hours a week. And I was starting my career in banking. I was in the leadership development program, brand new into my career, just out of school. I was making 50 grand a year in my first job. Now, Kels, on the other hand, going to a private university, she was spending 40 grand a year just in tuition alone. So you can imagine we were a little bit strapped for time, and our finances weren't the greatest. We very quickly amassed 6 figures of student loan debt from Kelsey's PA program, plus a couple car loans. Like, our finances were not in this beautiful place in our early 20s when we earned access to this community. And we're so thankful we had a coach or someone willing to sit down with us to help us through this. And it made a tremendous impact in our life. Let me tell you. We, again, over the past decade, because of the guidance we got here, because being in a community that teaches to manage your finances well and live below your means and make value-based decisions, and how to manage a schedule and how to manage your time and how to say yes to the right things and no to the wrong things in your life. We've made tremendous strides in these categories, and we're very thankful. We paid off 6 figures of student loan debt in a couple of years after my wife, graduated, because of the principles we learned here. We learned how to live below our means and manage a really good budget in our household. We've gotten multiple promotions in our careers. We've increased our income a great amount in our careers. And we've learned how to build a business on Amway's platform that's created phenomenal success in our life and given us a lot of choice. We were able to have Kels step out of working professionally at the age of 30. She worked for 5 years as a physician assistant, but then she was able to step out at the age of 30 because of the other income that we had through our Amway business, that she didn't need to go to work anymore. So she stepped out of working. And I think the biggest thing when we step back and look at our financial and time journey in this environment, it's just given us such peace of mind that we did not see in our families growing up, that we did not see in our peers, because of the principles we've learned here. So understand, one of the biggest things I think you can take from this journey that you're on is learning how to make value-based decisions in both of these categories: value-based decisions around your time and value-based decisions around your money and how you spend it. Right. So as you go into this session with your coach, here's a couple tips that I have as you're preparing for this. Number one is just take it seriously. Take a high level of ownership and get real with yourself. You got to be real. One of the biggest mistakes I see people around their finances make is they just aren't real with themselves. They kind of brush it under the rug. They don't want to look at it. They don't want to see it. They know they're maybe not making the best decisions. They know they got some things they need to work on, but let's just not talk about that. Let's talk about the good things that are going okay, but the bad things, let's put to the side. If you don't get real with yourself on your finances, it will never change. But what I loved about this community is none of our coaches judged us. They never gave us a hard time. They didn't look at us funny. For wherever we were at in our finances, wherever we were at with our time, they were there to help. So you got it. And the step one, take ownership, get real. And that's the first step to the journey that you can start to make progress on. Number two is do the homework going into this session, right? If you have a chance to fill out a budget template or audit kind of where you're at with your time or your finances, do that. Dive in, get the full picture on paper for yourself. It's way easier to start to make progress in your finances and with your time if it's down on paper, if you can look at it, if you can just track it all. So do the homework, take that seriously. Number three is leverage your coach. Get perspective, seek it out. And I don't care if your coach is someone you've built a good relationship or you don't really know them that well yet. You maybe just earned an offer and you're working on that relationship. Listen, our coaches never told us what to do with our money and what to do with our time. They didn't tell us what to do. They're not our parents. They're not our bosses, but they gave us perspective. They gave us perspective from someone who was 10 steps ahead, 100 steps ahead, multiple years ahead of where we wanted to be. And that was immensely valuable to us. We just had to plug into it. So don't be afraid to be real with your coach and bring things to your coach, and be vulnerable with your coach on where you're at, because that's how you're going to get leverage to move forward. And the last one is be willing to build systems, new habits. Listen, folks, you will never create a different financial result or life result if you keep the same habits that you have today. This is just a fact of life. No one's perfect. No one has perfect habits. No one has perfect, behaviors in these areas, but you got to be willing to put new systems in place and new habits, and change is required, my friends. So I would just encourage you as you're reflecting on where you're at, as you go through this session with your coach, be willing to change, be open to suggestions, be willing to try new things out, new systems, new strategies to help you pay off debt or manage a better budget, or manage your time and your schedule and your agenda. Right. And at the end of the day here, again, I think this is such a powerful thing on your journey. If you want to build a successful business venture of your own, if you want to be a business owner, if you want to create wealth in your life, you have to do this foundational work. It's not always fun. It's not always easy. Getting all your finances in order, working on your time, learning to say no maybe a few more times, or learning to say yes to the right things with your schedule. But man, is it worth it? It can create such a big impact in your life in a very little bit of time if you take it seriously. So I wish you all the best of luck as you go through this module. I hope you take it seriously and get in and get real with yourself. And the last thing is don't make this a one-time session. Don't make this a one-time conversation in your household with a coach. Make this the start of an ongoing conversation to help you craft a path to better financial management, better time management in your life, and ultimately better peace of mind, because that's what I think a lot of us are after on our journey. So this had an immense impact on us because we took it seriously, because we dove in and we really wanted to make it work. So best of luck as you go through this module, and hope to see you all at the next Legacy Leadership event.